Hi, my name is Francesca Desogus, and I wrote this story Sick at Heart with Celia Kirakus. Sick at Heart is about a college student named Juno. Juno is very mentally unstable, and this causes her to battle very dark and twisted thoughts throughout the story. We also get her boyfriend Aiden's point of view and find out how truly broken Juno is. So, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the story. Sick at Heart. Something happened in my junior year of high school. I don't know what it was, but it was the reason Mom and I left Oaksdale. There's something missing from my memory. I shudder every time I try to imagine what could have happened. That Mom made me pack everything I could into a suitcase and cut off contact with everyone in the small town. She forced me to leave behind my childhood, my home, everything. I thought she wanted me to get away because of what Evie and Gage did to me. But her demeanor was much more serious. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm older, better, stronger. I've considered going back to Oaksdale, try and find out what happened, but I haven't been able to convince myself enough to actually do it. I've moved on with my life, and I don't want to go back to who I was before I left. Whatever that was. I sat on my bed taking notes for my English lit class when Flora sat down next to me, most likely to show me her newest Pinterest board. Flora is my roommate and closest friend. She has the kind of smile that lights up any room and eyes that twinkle every time she sees something she likes. She sat down next to me and began to scroll through the pictures on her phone of aesthetically pleasing outfits she wanted to recreate. I listened to her, but I don't. On the surface, my friendship with Flora is picture perfect, but there is something about her honeyed voice and butterscotch hair that makes me want to slam a textbook into her oh so pretty face. I'm not that strong physically, but I'm sure it wouldn't take much to force sink her face into her throat. I think back to my physics class last year and my final project, all about the uses of physics in murder. I was lucky my teacher, Miss Harvey, was also a true crime fan, or else I doubt I would have gotten an A. I thought back to the slide about blunt force trauma. I had laid out Newton's second law of motion and had even made a joke about how Sir Isaac Newton probably wouldn't have wanted his laws of motion to be used like this. But oh well. Maybe I won't be able to crack her skull, but I could potentially knock her out, or even give her a concussion. A little silence would be nice. Juno, you okay there? Flora's voice pulled me out of that thought. I'm fine, I'm just really tired. I soon returned to my feelings of appreciation for Flora, momentarily forgetting that unexplained hatred I have for her deep inside myself. I don't hate Flora. I really don't. She's my best friend and I'd die for her. But something about her reminds me of someone from my past and stirs up all the dark and ugly inside of my heart. I try to smile, but both of us know it's a useless attempt. My face looks like something out of a Tim Burton movie. Big round eyes, narrow eyebrows, a small slightly turned up nose, and lastly, big heart-shaped lips. So basically, I always look miserable. Okay then. Well, I have a date tonight, so don't wait up for me. I looked up at her, finally paying attention to her. She was dressed up in her favorite burgundy cocktail dress, an obvious sign she was meeting up with a guy tonight. The question was, who was the flavor of the week? I raised an eyebrow at her. Who's the lucky guy? Flora was at the door checking to see if she had everything. No one. She giggled, slowly opened the door, and left. I glanced over at the clock. It reads exactly 8 p.m. Flora's the kind of girl who goes out until the sun rises, even if she has a 10 a.m. class the next day. When we met, I craved to be able to live a life like that. So far, I've adapted pretty well and found a balance between her wild lifestyle and my need for alone time. I feel my phone buzz from inside my pocket. It's Aiden. I met Aiden on a train. I was sitting on my own by a window at 25A. As I was reading my favorite book, he sat down next to me, looking as if he had just come out one of those coming-of-age indie films. We talked the whole time, which looking back was truly extraordinary. I don't usually open up to people. Aiden and I have been dating for nearly 2 years, and he's my whole world. I take out my phone to read the message. Hey Jay, my headache is really acting up again. I should probably get some rest. Can we do lunch tomorrow? Great. He cancelled. Again. I resist the urge to write him a whole paragraph on the need for compromise in a relationship, a value he is clearly lacking. Instead, I respond with, It's okay. Don't worry about it. Tomorrow sounds good. Hope you feel better. But it's not okay. I clench my fists and gaze at the yellow roses next to Flora's bed. Suddenly, the glass vase holding the roses broke into pieces, almost like a small explosion. The water went everywhere, and the roses fell on the floor where they would soon die. I would have gotten up to clean the mess, but I really don't care. My stomach growls, reminding me that I haven't had dinner. I quietly leave my dorm and debate where I should go next. I could get inside my car and drive up to my favorite pizza place, or I could walk to the cafeteria and have some absolutely inedible food that's basically just fried matter. After carefully contemplating my options, I opt for the pizza. I hopped into my car and began driving. I should probably call Aiden. A headache can mean anything from a sinus infection to a head aneurysm. I park in an empty parking lot and take out my phone. I try calling him, but he doesn't answer. With every ring, I can just picture him laying on the floor unconscious because of a stroke due to his possible head aneurysm. It's just a headache. It's just a headache. It's just a headache. I whisper under my breath, trying to calm myself down. I need to go visit him. Deep down, I know he's okay. But if I don't go, these thoughts will keep me up at night. I turn my car around and begin driving to Aiden's house. When my mother and I moved away from Oakdale, she made me see many therapists. They all pretend to know what you're feeling. And these so-called doctors just sit there behind their boundaries. I could be ripping my heart into a million shreds. My soul could be disintegrating into nothingness. Yet, these people would just sit there and watch. As soon as I turned 18, I stopped seeing these Dr. Phil wannabes and started living my own life. Soon I arrived at the house. I tried calling again, but it went straight to voicemail. I can tell he's in there. That hideous lamp I begged him to throw away is on, and that white hospital-like glow is shining through the curtains. I ring the doorbell, but there is still no answer. I'm starting to seriously consider this brain aneurysm theory. I lift the flower pot to reveal the set of spare keys. I fidget with the keys. Do I really want to go in there? Whatever is behind that door, I know I'm not ready for. I take a deep breath and begin opening the door. I step inside and shut the door behind me. I don't see Aiden. Instead, I see Flora. Soon, I feel like I am no longer in control. I feel as a spectator, witnessing my life as it passes. I just want to collapse onto the ground and cry, but neither of them deserve to see my tears. I stare at Flora in disbelief. She could not do this. Not to me. Juno, this is not what it looks like. Red-hot tears ran down her face, each one carving her round cheeks. I can't even look at her. I feel like an idiot. This is what happens when you trust people with your heart. They smash it and break it into a million pieces. Suddenly, I'm back in Miss Harvey's class. I feel the sudden urge to recite my junior year physics project. This law outlines the fact that velocity is king when it comes to traumatic injury. The size of an object makes an impact upon the trauma sustained to the patient. However, velocity is key to the extent of the injury. I mumble. At this point, Flora looks puzzled. Suddenly, it feels as if a light switch has been turned off in my brain. I walk over to the hideous lamp and yank the extension cord out of the outlet. The lamp must weigh about 5 pounds. I feel my heart racing. I bolt, catching her off guard, and struck her with the lamp right on her forehead. She immediately collapsed onto the ground. I instantly felt a sense of déjà vu. With my heart still racing at a million miles per hour, I suddenly remember everything that happened to me. I killed my best friend my junior year of high school, and it is the same reason I killed again 5 years later. I heard the front door opening and slamming shut. It sounded very loud, but I didn't think much of it. Maybe Flora wanted to get some fresh air. We had spent the last hour planning a big surprise party for Juno. She was the love of my life, and I wanted her party to turn out perfect. Since I'm not the best with art-related things, I invited Flora over to help me design the invitations. Flora knew Juno almost as well as I did, so she seemed like just the right person for the job. I was grabbing my laptop's charger when I heard a shriek from the other room. I ran as fast as I could. That's when I saw it. A dead body, dressed in burgundy dress, blood, and a forehead with a big open wound. I ran to the body to check the pulse, completely covering my hands with blood in the process. Flora's heart was not beating. It took time for me to comprehend what I was seeing. My girlfriend's best friend was dead in my living room. I know for a fact it wasn't me. But who was to blame for this? And how was she killed? Millions of questions are going through my head. If the police were to come at this moment, there would be no doubt in their minds that I'm guilty. Her dead body was in my home. My fingerprints were all over her clothes, and my hands are full of blood. There are no cameras near my apartment, and there wasn't any visible evidence proving otherwise. I need to cover this up. My first instinct was to call Juno. I trusted her with my life, and I knew for a fact that she would help me. She answered the phone the second I dialed. Juno, this may sound crazy, but I need you to believe me. Flora is dead. I heard complete silence. This must be very hard for her to take in. I went on. I found her dead in my apartment, possibly killed by someone. I know she's your best friend, and you must be heartbroken right now, but you will lose me too if you don't cover this up. We need a plan. Quick. There is too much evidence that incriminates me. Again, there was a long pause. Juno's probably wondering what she was doing at my house in the first place, but I could explain that later. My main priority right now was getting rid of Flora's body. Finally, she answered. Okay, I'll help you. I'm coming over now. Honestly, I wasn't expecting that quick of a reaction from her. But what can I say? I was more relieved by the fact that she was willing to help me. She was putting the grief of her best friend's death aside to save me in this urgent situation. This made me remember why I fell in love with her in the first place. It was getting dark out, and I needed more light in the room to figure out what we were going to do with the body. I went to switch on the lamp when I noticed that it wasn't there. Why was it no longer there? A moment later, Juno arrived. She had black stains under her eyes. It was her mascara mixed with tears. I started to imagine how it would have felt if I lost my best friend. This may be too much for her. I start regretting my choice of letting her help me. But deep down, I know I couldn't do this by myself. Juno looked at Flora's body for a while. Her face was not sad nor angry. It was just blank. I'm sorry, I truly am, I said, trying to console her. She blinked twice and looked up at me. Her face tightened, and it looked as if she were going to explode. A second later, her face loosened up, and she stared at me straight in the eyes. Juno took a deep breath and said, We have to get rid of the body. There is a lake 30 minutes away. For some reason, it scared me how expressionless she said this. How was she able to come up with this plan so quickly? What will happen when people start questioning where she is? I asked. The police will try looking for her, but sooner or later they will give up. Anyways, we were probably the only people who truly cared for her. A year from now, people will forget she ever existed, she answered insensitively. 10 minutes later, the body was in a bag, and I carefully placed it in the trunk of my car. Juna suggested that it was best if we take separate cars to the lake. She needed to stop somewhere before. I wondered where she was going, but I didn't want to question her. She had already done so much for me. I nervously got in my car and started to drive. I didn't kill Flora, but the fact that I was 30 minutes away from throwing her dead body into a lake made me sick. I have never seen or heard of the lake that Juno was talking about. I texted Juno, "Hey Jay, what's the name of the lake?" so I can search it up. Juno answered by sending me the coordinates of the location. I found it odd that she would rather send me the coordinates of the lake than the actual name, but I had to get going. I was 15 minutes into the drive when negative thoughts started taking over me. What if I'm caught? What if someone sees me? I nervously drove on. I was just 5 minutes away, and the smell of the body decaying behind me made me want to throw up. I tried comforting myself by thinking of how this will all be over in just a few hours. I arrived at the location that Juno had sent me. There wasn't any lake nearby. It was forest. Maybe we had to go through a path to arrive there. 10 minutes had passed, and I was still waiting for Juno to arrive. I called her, but there was no signal. Maybe she sent me the wrong location. I was about to get back in my car when I hear a car coming near. It wasn't just any car. It was a police car. My heart started racing. I was very confused. Had someone seen me put the body in the car? How did they know my location? Where's Juno? "Hands up!" yelled the policeman. I did as I was told. "Open your trunk," he demanded. My heart was about to come out of my chest. If there was ever a moment I wanted the earth to swallow me, right now would be the perfect one. I didn't move. "Open the trunk or I'll do it for you," yelled the man, starting to get angry. I couldn't bring myself to move a finger. His partner came and opened it. Next thing I know, handcuffs are being put around my wrists. "You're being arrested for the murder of Flora Kingsley." How did they know her name already? Something wasn't adding up here. "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law," said one officer. I started yelling at the man. "I swear I didn't kill her." Tears were running down my cheeks, but for obvious reasons, my remark had no importance to them. Ignoring what I had just said, the officer continued. "You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided to you." Juno had just arrived. I was relieved of her arrival. She would be able to come up with a story and help me out of this. What she did next was completely unexpected. Before I was put in the police car, she came up to me smiling and said, "After everything you did to me, you were gullible enough to think that I would actually help you?" What had gotten into her? I had done nothing wrong. Is this some kind of joke? "Hope you have a wonderful time in prison," she said, almost laughing. Juno came up to my ear and whispered low enough for only me to hear, "I killed her."